Okay, so this is the property that we had the fire at. This would be the frontage road, this would be I-55 for reference, this is south. When the crews arrived, we had a fire in this area here that had already come out the side of the building and was burning through the roof. Our first equipment pulled in here and started defensive fire attack to knock the fire down. Additional crews responded in and went in through the front of the building to try to save the office area, which had other, obviously, records, computers, that kind of stuff. In the course of that, they pulled ceiling and had fire above their heads. The ceiling collapsed on the firefighting crew that was inside. One firefighter sustained burns to his wrist and his forehead, and he was transported to St. Joe's in stable condition. He's subsequently been transferred now to Loyola to the burn unit just for further treatment, but he's still stable. That's good enough for that.
Okay. That's all?
Yeah.
And so that L shape is the old building?
Yeah, so this is a series of buildings that have been added on over the years.
And this, do
You
you see
could
that
see
new
this was the
building?
main building, then they added this on, then they added that on, and the office, so, and then there's other buildings in the complex too.
In that picture, you don't see that brand new
No.
building? but Yeah.
So you said the firefighter is stable right now?
Yep, yep.
Is at Loyola?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have you just step up, chief.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have the address? 20535 Southeast Frontage Road. It's unincorporated Joliet, but in Troy Township.
Sure. You're getting this.
All right, I'm getting it.
It'd be
Should I
better
jump
for
out
the
from
color,
behind it?
too.
All right.
Good.
Thank you very
It'll
much, you
look
guys.
better.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, chief.
Okay, at 4:02 this morning, we received an alarm for a structure fire at the 20535 Southeast Frontage Road, which is Rovanco Pipe Company. How we were notified, 2 employees arrived this morning and found smoke in the building. As they went further into the building to investigate, it became much heavier, so they evacuated the building and called 911. As our crews arrived, they found heavy fire through the side of the building and the roof, as I showed you guys before. The crews began a defensive fire attack from the outside in that area. As additional crews arrived, they were deployed to the front of the structure to make a stand in the office area. That crew encountered smoke but no known fire. When they pulled ceiling, the ceiling collapsed on them. One firefighter received burns to his wrist and forehead. He was transported in stable condition to St. Joe's Medical Center in Joliet, then ground transported to Loyola Medical Center for further burn care. This fire escalated to a 3rd alarm due to this being a non-hydrant area, which meant we had to bring in all the water to fight the fire. This building was a series of pole building type buildings all connected. In total, we went to a 3rd alarm, which was a total of 16 water tender trucks, 10 engines, 2 trucks, and 7 chief officers to manage the incident. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer what I can.
Were there any other injuries besides the firefighter?
No other injuries. The MABUS 15 fire investigation team is out there along with the state fire marshal's office conducting the investigation.
That facility, it makes industrial pipes.
Mhm.
We heard that people around here heard an explosion.
Yeah,
Is there
there's-
belief that there's a chemical component to this?
There was tanks of product inside that they utilized to make, I believe, the lining in the pipe, and some of those tanks did levy on the inside of the building.
So do we know how many explosions?
There was at least 4 that I'm aware of that I witnessed on site myself.
And then was the firefighter who was injured, was he a part of that second crew?
He was a part of the second crew from a neighboring department, yeah.
All right, so can you kind of go take us step by step for that firefighter, what happened, the ceiling came down and how he was injured?
Yeah, so from my understanding, because I have not spoken to him, they went inside with a hand line to make a stop at that building to try to save the office area. Unbeknownst to them, the fire had already traveled over their heads in the ceiling area. When they pulled the check, the whole ceiling fell on them, and that's how he got burned. All the firefighters, they all made it out safe under their own power, and he was evaluated and then transported for care. I don't want to say that because I don't know that his coworkers and/or family are all aware yet.
So no hydrants in the area, so was that your biggest challenge, or talk about what the challenge is?
Yeah, so the fire obviously had a good head start on us, and in that type of construction where it's all open inside with just wooden beams and insulation, there's no protection from the fire spreading. So it already had a significant head start, and then the fact that we had to bring all the water in caused a delay because it takes a while to get, tanker trucks from neighboring departments that are substantially far away, so.
Did you say how many neighboring departments?
It was 16 tenders, so 15 with ours.
Did the wind also play a challenge?
No, and actually the wind was a good thing because the wind was out of the west, so it blew all the smoke and stuff out over an open field, and there's no homes for over a mile away to the west. So that was a benefit versus it going from the east and over I-55 and causing traffic issues or over residential areas. So we were very fortunate in that aspect.
How many departments responded?
Probably close to 30 total.
And you said, Chief, you said 16 water tender trucks, 10 engines, 2 trucks?
2 ladder trucks, yeah.
Okay.
Any idea on the cost?
No, not yet. It's way too early. I mean, they have an area where the employees noticed the smoke heaviest, but I don't think they actually got all the way to where the fire was actually at, so we don't have an idea.
What kind of area was that, where they saw the fire?
So the whole building, except for the office area, is all manufacturing. So from the first, 200 feet of that building all the way to the west and then back to the south, it's all manufacturing, different stations and stuff as they make their product.
So were the employees in the warehouse portion?
They went into the office, to my understanding, and went into the warehouse, saw smoke, went further in, then realized it was much more smoke. That's when they evacuated and called 911.
Any fires at this place before?
No,
Any history of fires in the area?
no, not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Is the situation under control? Do you have the upper
Oh,
hand?
yeah, 100%, yep.
Okay, and do you know any estimates of how much longer this might burn?
We're working with the insurance company and with the state fire investigators and our own fire investigators. They want to make sure everything's documented before they start pulling stuff apart, how the building collapsed on itself and whatever, before they start getting in there and putting spot fires out. So we'll probably be out there most of the today.
Total loss?
Total loss, yeah,
Do
unfortunately.
we have a guesstimation on how much?
We're guessing probably between 25 and 30 million, building and contents.
How many people work there?
I honestly don't know that.
Would you say like hundreds? Big company?
No, it's not hundreds, it's probably 50 or so, I would
Okay.
say.
Okay.
You know how many would have been working last night?
No, there was no overnight shift. These employees came in this morning early to start. And I don't know if that's a Monday thing because of the weekend or if that's an everyday thing.
4:02 is when you got the call?
Yes,
Okay, so they presumably started at
4, yeah.
How grateful are you that they were there? I mean, saw it and-
100%, yeah. And like I said, the wind played a big factor too because with the wind going off their property to the west, or to the east, it just avoided it spreading to the north or south, which they also have other buildings at, so,
And that brand new building is to the north or south?
south,
South.
So the wind blowing to the east helped you?
immensely, yes.
Okay. And kept it away from the residential?
Yep, and the smoke plume and everything else, so. Anybody else?
What's the term you use for explosion?
Explosion.
Or,
I might have said blevy, a tank blevied. Yeah, that's
Were-
just
Did you have somebody on scene when these things?
yeah,
exploded?
I was there, all of us were there, yeah.
Did
So
that not accelerate the whole fire and?
it accelerated our heart rate. Yeah, I mean, whatever that product was that released, it caught fire and burned off rapidly.
No toxic air issues?
We don't believe so, no.
Will you be testing for that? Is the EPA gonna come here? and do
We're
a
gonna
sample?
reach out to the Will County EPA and see if they wanna, or the Will County EMA, and see if they wanna deploy any air monitors. But the amount of heat and stuff, the smoke was going up into the atmosphere so high, it wasn't like along the ground, so we should be perfectly fine.
How much longer is Frontage Road gonna be shut down?
It should be open as soon as the tanker shuttles are done, which should be any time now. We just close it off for their safety because they're stopping and having to back in to where they have to go.
I'm sorry, I just want, you don't wanna did you say you did not wanna identify which suburb the firefighter is?
No.
Okay, but it was not a Troy?
It was not a Troy firefighter, correct?
Joliet firefighter?
I don't wanna say.
Okay.
Keep going. Can you explain, you said this area didn't have fire hydrants?
Right.
Is that something that's gonna be looked at? Is that standard? I mean,
Well,
why doesn't it have fire hydrants?
It's an unincorporated area, so it's not in anybody's
Okay.
town or
Oh,
village,
understood.
so they have
Okay.
no water
Okay,
supply.
understood.
So they're on like well and
Got it.
septic there, yeah.
Got it.
How far away was the mutual aid coming from?
Oh, they came from pretty far. We had them as far as like Bristol Kendall, Fox,
Oh,
I can't think of it.
way up north?
It's west, like Plano, that area and stuff, so. They spread pretty far,
Pretty good distance,
yeah. Anything else?
And then at 4:02, when did you guys arrive?
I didn't get our arrival time, but it was quick. I mean, we're fully staffed here, so I would say by 4:05, we should have been there on scene, so. I live in town, so I got there after this station got there before our other station did, so.
And you personally witnessed 4 explosions?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Thank you, chief.
so, yeah.
Appreciate it.
And you know what, some of those explosions could have been, they had vehicles inside, it could have been tires, you know, going and stuff too, but a couple more chemical just by the way the release was, what we saw with the sparks and all that kind of stuff, so.
So you're probably anticipating there's gonna be hot spots for a while?
Yeah, because the building, when it burned, the roof fell in, the walls fell in. So we're gonna have to get in there and pull that apart, but like I said, until the State Fire Marshal's Office and our Mavis investigators are done documenting the scene the way it stands, we don't wanna start tearing stuff apart. But it will have to be moved and hot spots will be put out.
So if people see little flames or smoke still.
Not a hazard. Yep, can't go anywhere.
Don't call you.
Don't call, please.
So when you're able to pull things apart, that's when you could really start looking for clues as to
That's
what's
exactly, that's
okay.
when the investigators will go in there.
Okay.
There is also video surveillance on the property that they're hoping to get some camera angles of. Unfortunately, the new building on the south side of the building doesn't have the cameras up and installed yet, which would have shown that area that initially, you know, we saw on fire, so. But maybe from the other side, they'll be able to, you know, find those useful, so.
Will you keep us updated on how that firefighter is doing?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
All right.
And maybe let us know when the road is open again.
Okay, yeah.
But you
We'll
think it'll
kind of
probably
share.
be the rest of the day?
Closed?
Yeah.
No, it should be open, I would say probably by 10 o'clock.
Oh, by 10 o'clock?
Yeah, because
Okay.
the water shuttle should pretty much be over by then where they're not staying on the road. Anything else, guys,
Would you
girls?
say this is one of the largest fires that your crew has worked on?
It's been one of the largest fires we had in a while. The other large one we had was Tri-County Stockdale, another one that didn't have a lot of water, so. A lot less chemicals to deal with than this one, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? All right, thank you.